Okay, good evening, everybody. It's Rusty here from Stunthangar with our live hangout for Monday, May 28th, 2018. And welcome, everybody, and must apologize for the Friday night show because we had glitches going on that kind of broke up the show, especially for the YouTube viewers in the background. Um, it started out with people having trouble joining the live side and ended up having to restart the show and actually let me turn my bandwidth down in case that's part of a problem now. But in any case, we restarted the show and everybody was on and we had a pretty normal experience here, same usual people, and the um, folks started joining on YouTube. And then later, for some reason we didn't know at the time, everybody started dropping off of YouTube until nobody was there. And after the show was over, I went back and looked at the rerun that records, and it was all broken up. It was like somebody poured Pepsi on the fast forward key, and it was just jumping all around, chopping up conversations, and we got about 30 minutes of actual hangout out of the 2.5 hour show. Um, I think it was stopping and starting on the YouTube side, and because one person did tell me it was breaking up and that they kept getting kicked off, and then later when I investigated, that's probably what was happening over there. And y'all can tell me tonight what it looked like from your side, you guys that watch on YouTube. But anyway, um, got everything going tonight, and hopefully it was just a bandwidth problem or a YouTube glitch going on. Who knows? You never know what's going on in the background here, but here we are. The links are posted. If you are a subscriber to Sparky's Stunt Hanger YouTube channel, then you should have gotten a notification that we're online there, so you can get to the YouTube watch page. And if you're a member of the Stunt Hanger Control Line forums, of course, you can get the link to join the live feed with your camera and microphone. And I hope everybody will do that. Um, and So that's it. We're here for the next couple of hours to talk about aeromodeling, uh, boats, planes, trains, and automobiles, anything you want to talk about. And I hope we'll get some Monday night visitors. And hope everybody's not worn out from the weekend. Had a pretty good weekend here. Had some rain and some sun, but we had a nice enough break in the rain to get out to the field at Congaree, and had a meeting Saturday morning, and got some flying going on, and had a good time. It's nice to get out with all my buddies and walk around out on the field, get some exercise, and so all is well. Hope you had a good weekend too. That business. When I initially started to write a post on Stunthanger explaining what was going on with the feed breaking up on Friday night, and I got to thinking about Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi from Saturday Night Live back in the probably in the 70s, and their job was running the nuclear power plant, and they had a problem when everything went to hell and all the alarms went off, and they traced the problem to the Pepsi syndrome, and it was what happens when you knock a Pepsi over on the control panel of the reactor controls. And so I was thinking our fast forward was going crazy here, like it was the Pepsi syndrome. So that brought back old memories of Saturday Night Live. A lot of y'all might remember that. I know there's a bunch of guys here that are in the same age bracket where we had the original old Saturday Night Live with the not ready for primetime players, Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Jane Curtin, Lorraine Newman, Garrett Morris. God, there's so many of them, but that was funny as hell back then. But anyway, that's what the herky-jerky fast forwarding of the YouTube feed from here on Friday night ended up looking like. So I've deemed it the Pepsi syndrome. Hope we don't have that again, but we'll see. And I won't know until the show's over, I guess, unless somebody comes on that can communicate to me what y'all are seeing over on the YouTube side. And speaking of the YouTube side, the chat box is up right now. I'm gonna, if you bear with me a second, I'm gonna pop over there and make sure everything looks normal. Yes, everything looks normal at this time, and looks like the Stunthangar, the Stunthangar watch page is also up. Now, if you want to get to where the, if you click in on the Stunthangar at the bench link to the YouTube page, just a second, it's the second link, or actually the video in tonight's post. Then when it starts, you'll see the YouTube logo at the bottom right. If you click that logo, it'll take you to the YouTube watch page, and that's where you'll find the chat box to be able to type and talk to us guys that are in the video side with our microphones and cameras on. So if you want to, us to be able to see your comments and answer and ask questions and that sort of thing, that's what you need to do. Is go to, if you don't want to come in live with us, then just go to the At the Bench thread, click on where it says the link to tonight's YouTube watch page is, click on that, start the video, and click on the YouTube logo at the bottom right of that video, and you will be hot to try, ready to join us. So far, I got 4 viewers, so I know YouTube's alive out there. Nobody's posted anything text-wise yet, but I'll hang out here as long as y'all are out there, and hopefully some folks will come in and join us, so I don't have to do all the work here. But right now, all I got for you is dead air. So if you want to type me a question until some live visitors come in, feel free, and I'll send you a complimentary welcome. Welcome, tubers. And there was some confusion the other night about chat boxes too. There are 2 chat boxes, but one of them is from YouTube, and that's the one that anybody that's watching me right now should be able to have access to. And the other one is available for the people that are here in the video stream. And there was some confusion about which one to use between us over here on the video side. So I guess we got that straightened out. But that's about all I got for introductory comments. So waiting for you to join. Let's see, what did I do this weekend? Well, went out to make sure there was no water on the floor in the shop, because we'd get an inch of rain at a time once in a while. But the old shop's holding out pretty good. And it's not too moist feeling in there. So got my cardinal fuselage clamped in my Acme profile jig pretty tight with foam, that squishy styrofoam, kind of bushing the sides to hold it straight. And so I don't think any warpage is going on. And let's see, we got somebody called Pat's Place. Hello, found you guys last week. Oh, okay, Pat's Place. Well, welcome. Glad you found us. We talk about aeromodeling and associated, stuff about model airplanes. We're specialty is control line, as opposed to remote control. But we'll talk about anything you find fun to do in your workshop or whatever it is, wherever you do it. Are you a modeler, Pat, or are you just dropping in from unrelated surfing through YouTube. What's your story? Hey, Gerald. See, Gerald's in YouTube. Says, catch you soon. Okay, good. So Gerald's usually out and about at this time of the day because it's broad daylight. Pat's Place. I'm 60. Back in 68, he flew with his dad. Oh, cool. Had a flight streak with a 19 or a 29 Enya. Flew Goldberg, Little Wizard to learn on, then built Golden Combat. All right. So you were one of our brothers, control line brothers. Well, welcome, Pat. Um, there's a way to get in here with your camera and mic whenever you get interested, comfortable with us, and we'll get you set up to join. Are you a member of the Stunthangar control line forums? Asking because that's where, and the only place where you can get the link to join us here. And Gerald just posted us a super chat contribution of $8 of New Zealand funds. Thank you, Gerald. We appreciate that. That's where we get our contributions to keep the server fees paid and keep this show free, and not only free but available. And there's a $sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat box for most of you. People on phones and tablets tell me they can't see it, but if you click on that $sign, then you can make us a little contribution. And Pat says mostly plastic models, but now enjoy the Hangout banner. Well, good. It's always nice to know who's watching. I know by looking at the visits when we get through that there are a lot of people watching that don't post anything. They just like to sit and watch us talk about airplanes and stuff. And we get way off topic sometimes too, but just having fun and staying connected. We have a great time. I like your trailer of the show with the judge. Oh, my trailer of the show with the judges. What was that? What was that? I'm not remembering which video you might be talking about. The show with the judges. Was that from Huntersville? I don't have any video from this year's May Huntersville contest. I don't know. Tell me if you know which video it was. I'm just curious. But yeah, I got about 165 or 170 videos on my YouTube channel. Or no, you know what? I know. I'm sorry. I'm getting it confused. That's the Stunthangar Forums owner, Sparky. That would be one of his videos. That's why I don't know what you're talking about. Frederico Prolong. Hey, Freddie, how you doing? From Argentina. Yeah, I remember seeing you. Seems like a couple of weeks ago. So thanks for dropping in. Hopefully, maybe we'll get some live visitors in here pretty soon. And I was just telling Pat, who's also in YouTube, he said he liked the trailer or the video of the show with the judges, but I think that's one of Sparky's videos. Robert Sparky, the owner of this Stunthangar control line forum. I'm actually just a member of the forums with no special forum superpowers. Says Pat says never got for his contest. Just lucky to have Estes models. Rockets. Oh yeah, my son used to do Estes rockets. He was in the rocket club back when he was in high school, and he's gone on to be a chemist now and working in manufacturing. Says Pat says Dad froze at the stick and crashed his crashed their headmaster. Oh my, that's always fun to do. Fire one off at the headmaster. Everybody does. Okay. So sad more people don't even know about. I know control line. I try to tell people what I do and I just get blank stares. Even people my age. You would think everybody my age remembers going in a toy store and seeing Stukas and Mustangs and all of that kind of stuff. That was my first plane. I bought a Mustang, got it home, couldn't get it cranked, and Dad came home while I was messing with it, and we messed with it and couldn't get it to crank. I could probably crank it today, I bet. But anyway, the next day he came home he took it back and came home with a Stuka, which we got cranked, and was the typical Stuka first flight story where it takes off like a rocket and goes quarter of a lap and then comes straight in and slags itself into a million splinters. And so me and Dad were walking around picking up bits and pieces, talking about how I almost saved it. Now, this is the first flight I've ever flown, or crash, whatever you want to call it, and picking up bits and pieces. Wasn't there a motor around here somewhere? It had a hole in the spinner that looked like a bullet hole, so we had an explanation for why I crashed. But then he finally came home with a PT-19, and I started flying that and never looked back. I crashed it and crashed it and crashed it and rubber banded it back together until I could fly out full tank of fuel. And that brings us to today. That was back when I was 12 years old, and I'm 62 now. So that's pretty good while. Hey, Gerald, our first video visitor from New Zealand is here. Gerald Wimmer, how you doing tonight, bud?
Oh, good. I just found a room that was a bit warmer. I decided to settle in the lounge. It's getting cold now, and lounge. I had to close the curtains a bit. It was so hot in here. But yeah, the modelling room's freezing by comparison. It's wet, very, very wet, and yeah, we were trying to fly on Sunday, but it was a mud bath. I just had mud all over myself and the models. Alina was brave enough to come out, but the boys refused to, and they knew what the weather was like. Cold and wet and rainy.
Yeah, it was warm and wet and rainy here, but we got enough breaks in between the rain to be able to get out. I went out to the congaree field yesterday, and they had a meeting earlier in the morning, and got out there and talked to everybody and walked around and had big fun. It was a good time to get out and see everybody. And since I signed in, we've got 3 or 4 interesting guys over on YouTube. By a member by the name of Pat's Place, I'm calling him Pat for short, was telling me he flew plastic models back in the 60s, and just happened across us, and he's been watching us. And somebody else, Frederico Prolong, from Argentina, is watching us, and I don't know if you remember him or not, but he first came in a couple of weeks ago and joined us on YouTube, and we talked to him a little bit. So we got some new people looking in. Pat says he saw a few electric planes. Oh, he's talking about a video that he saw that he liked, and I know which one he's probably talking about now. It's the one me and Sparky made at Triple Tree last year. And he made one, I made one, and we merged them together. And he's, I think, looked at the one where I'm walking through the pits, looking at planes and talking to people. So yeah, we got fans and viewers coming in that we didn't even know we had. So that's good. I appreciate you guys coming over. I can't keep up with your conversations as fast as you type them, but I'll be sure and try to relate what you say to our live video members and kind of go back and forth. Everything's working tonight, I think. Gerald, did you by any chance go back and look at our rerun from Friday night?
No, I haven't had a look. Did something happen? Was it a bit unusual?
Yeah. Earlier in the show, somebody had said they kept getting kicked off. And when I went back and looked at the rerun, our show was only about 35, 37 minutes long. I'm like, well, that can't be right. So I started playing it, and it's like every a few minutes at random intervals, somebody would push the fast forward key, and it would jump to the next conversation from the middle of one conversation to the middle of the next. And it was just burps and farts all the way through the evening until we got to the end and signed off. And I don't know if that was some kind of a bandwidth glitch, but Pat and Frederico, are y'all seeing a smooth transmission on the YouTube side? Yeah, Pat says smooth as silk on his Mac. So if they say it looks good, then we must be doing okay. But it must have been doing that herky-jerky fast forwarding for the live YouTube watchers Friday night too. So that was a strange night.
Yeah, it just doesn't. Right. Could be. I know we had a problem with bandwidth or something last time we were on, and it was hard to get in, and it was a little bit broken up. Not everybody came through clearly.
Yeah. The ones that did get in finally, and it looked like a pretty normal show while we were talking to each other, but over at the YouTube side, it was a mess, and so I left it up so that people could see it. It's a little humorous actually, watching us jump from one conversation to the next, but doesn't make a lot of sense sometimes.
Yeah. So it happened live. That just the way it recorded it. It wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be like somebody saying, well, what do you got on that 60-foot lines? And the next person will say, yeah, it's a super tiger needle valve, you know, and stuff like that. It just, it's disjointed, unconnected statements just flying around between us.
Sounds like a Monty Python or a two comedy.
Do you remember ever watching Saturday Night Live back in the 70s or 80s when they were, Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi were in charge of the nuclear power plant in the town, and somebody spilled a Pepsi on the control panel, and they had a name for the malfunctions that happen when you spill a Pepsi on the nuclear panel controls called the Pepsi syndrome. And that's what it reminded me of when I was typing up a little explanation of what happened. So yeah, we had the Pepsi syndrome the other night.
Yeah, we didn't get Saturday Night Live here, but we've gone through and we've been watching, like Max likes to go back and look at some of the old programs from the 60s, and he was watching Sam and Friends and things like that, just different variety shows. He seems to get some thrill out of watching old programs, but we were mainly all English TV. The main American stuff we got was things like MASH and Eight's Enough and The Muppet Show and The Family Entertainment, like that. So,
yeah, some of the favorite classics from back then. MASH still comes on every day on one channel or another on cable here now, and that was pretty good. I enjoyed that show from beginning to end. And the Muppets, that was a generation later than me, but my child was an avid Muppets watcher. Jim Henson, he died an unfortunate, untimely death, and later on it sounded like, I think that was before they knew what Legionnaire's disease was, a form of pneumonia. It sounds, I think, like what he had, or back then, who knows? It could be AIDS. You never know. You know, people died strange deaths. And then looking in retrospect, it looks like maybe something that's known to us now that wasn't back then.
Yeah, he didn't seem to think it was that serious at the time. He just put it down to a bad case of the flu or something.
Yeah.
And before he knew it, it had taken him out. But yeah, it was quite untimely, sudden death, and sorely missed. But I suppose the whole Muppets franchise was sold off to Disney. I think that might be the worst tragedy, actually. But
yeah.
Yeah, we had Hogan's Heroes and other things like that when I was young that I remember. Muppets was actually a little bit that would be something my brother remembers, but it was put on at the family entertainment hour for general adult audiences in New Zealand. Probably tells you a bit about New Zealand. Yeah, yeah. It was.
What about Mr. Rogers? Did y'all get that kids show?
No, I can't remember that. Roger Ramjet was one of my favorites as a kid.
Now I remember that name. I don't know if it's a real memory or not, because I don't have any details in my mind. Hey, Tom.
No, Tom.
Hey, Tom, I'm glad to see you back.
Yeah, okay? Hang on. I gotta get my camera set here.
Looks okay. You're just a little bright with.
Oh, this camera's coming off of my computer right above me.
We can see you fine and clear. It's just brighter than usual, so it's fine.
Yeah, we're gonna take care of that. Okay. Side view. Hi.
There you are.
Okay.
Your color is much better now.
Is that better?
Yeah.
I'm not as white.
Nah. Oh well. Nobody's perfect. I did not say that. But how's your dad? How's your dad doing?
Oh, he's doing great. He's he just needs some more therapy on walking, but everything else, he's got his right arm back, mobility, and he's talking and
facial muscles and all pretty normal.
Yep. Yeah, he had he wasn't smiling. Now he's got a smile.
Good.
So yeah, everything's great on that. He just needs to build up the strength and get walking better.
Yeah. And where is he? Is he at a rehab center?
Yeah. He's on Medicare, and Blue Cross, and he's got 100 days authorized by the insurance companies for rehabilitation.
And then they'll reevaluate it at the end of the 100 days.
Gone. Yep.
Okay. I have similar setup with Medicare and Blue Cross, but all dialysis patients get Medicare. So I'm lucky that way, because a lot of people that really deserve the kind of treatment I get or don't get it. It's just a good freak of Congress for me that they passed the Medicare Act, and dialysis patients, once they figured out they could keep so many people alive with these machines, then when Congress pushed it through and gave it to all qualifying people with kidney failure. So it's good.
Well, that's great.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
Been great.
He's probably going to come and living with me.
Really?
Yeah, we always had we call it our guest bedroom, and he wants to go to his house, but I'm in the process of I need to hire someone to give him 3 meals a day, watching,
Yeah.
And maybe we can work to that, but it's kind of a shame because, dude, I mean, wherever I go, these agencies, well, hey, we'll take real good care of them, but hey, how about $2,100 a month? Will that take care of it?
My wife's mom is in a nursing home now, and we've went through a rough few years getting that set up, and she lived at home. We had to get 24-hour care,
I mean, $2,100 a month
that's a lot of money. I mean,
you know what they told me? It not even near enough. I was going to pay privately $2,100 a month.
Yeah.
Nope, not near enough. I'm like, that's $25,700 a year.
Yeah. Yeah, I get
it. That's about what our local wages are around here.
Well, it's no different here in New Zealand. We have supposedly free healthcare, but if you're retired and you've got to go into a retirement home, it's the same thing. Except it would probably the numbers I can't really translate it out of my head, but it's frightfully expensive. And most old people, if they still own their house, end up selling it to pay for medical care, and if they live long enough, they can use up all their assets, basically.
And you know what's the saddest thing is? My father has worked hard all his life.
a productive member of society. Yeah.
A very productive member of society. And you know how many roads he's built? He drove charter buses and great big huge dump trucks and semis. That's beside the point. But the thing of it is, everybody's got their claws. Hey, we'll take care of your dad, but give us his house and his property, and we'll take care of him.
Yeah, it's nasty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're selling a. I don't want to get too open about it, publicly here.
Oh, yeah.
we're selling a house to keep this thing going. So
yeah, but the thing of it is, Rusty, it's everywhere. It's across America. Same thing, you know. The government, I just it's unreal. But anyway, I think the best thing to do for us is just keep it in the family, and we take care of each other, and you
now,
know.
your dad was an aero modeler, am I correct?
Huh?
Your dad was an aero modeler, is that correct?
No, dude. Had no idea about airplanes. Yeah, he was a professional motorcycle racer.
Oh, no shit, really?
He raced flat track and TNT for Harley Davidson, and he also was with Triumph for a while.
So he's a motorhead, though. Well,
yeah. His Triumph was the best bike he said he ever rode.
maybe you can get him interested and y'all can be flying buddies or something, or building buddies or something.
Oh, he's there'll be something.
I hope so.
You know, but I know his sanction is his home, and his home's all set up. It's all set up for what we have right now. You know, the only thing I had left to do was the bathroom, and I did that last summer.
Yeah.
So it's to me, privately paying someone, you know, is probably the way to do it. You know, you know, us kids kicking in everything. And
I was just thinking more for his mental health, you know, to give him something to enjoy, you know.
Yeah, I mean, my sister was talking, you know, give him, you know, he loves TV. All right. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to give him the best cable there is. He's going to have all the Westerns, all the old channels he wants, you know, HBO, you name it.
Yeah. We tried with that. Not all the best you can get, but her mom was not able to work the stuff, you know, the controls and all that. So it turned into a problem for us more than a
solution. Yeah. My father's has Dish, and he's called several times because he gets his remote screwed up.
Yeah.
You know
what the worst thing about the remotes is the system button is a toggle, and it just toggles all the power switches that you have set up for whatever devices to operate it. And then there's a power button that only toggles the one device that the buttons are set to. And so if you get them flip-flopped, you hit the system button, TV will turn on and the cable will turn off, and you hit it again, the cable will turn on and the TV will turn off. And it's maddening for somebody that doesn't understand what's happening and how to get back in sync.
Hey, yeah. My wife, we're trained we have two remotes. We shut the TV off with the TV remote that's manufactured from it. Yeah. We've already been down that road, Rusty.
Yeah. It would be funny if it wasn't such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I know. That's right. It is.
I'm very lucky because my brother is still at home with my aged parents, and he's looking after both of them, and they're both very high needs that have to be in full rest home care. But he's able to look after it, and he gets paid a small allowance from the government to do that. But being an artist, he's just swapped modes. He's gone from being a budding artist to a rest home worker, but the rest home in their own home.
Yeah, caretaker.
Yeah, it's hard work. I would not want to do his job. It's very hard.
I'm seeing a lot of people that are my age, and this is what they're doing with their parents, their aging parents now, and so I'm worried about mine. You know, they're getting very feeble, and so it's in my near future too.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, there's things I've learned, and Man, I wish I would have known them 5 years ago. 5 years. There's a law in Illinois, and yeah, it's anything you do with any real estate or property or anything like that has got to be done within 5 years of before like incidents like this happen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess you hadn't touched any modeling bits and pieces in a couple of weeks now, have you, Tom?
Well, no. And the thing of it is, me and my buddy, we have this coming up weekend. We have our first contest of the year, and you know, I've had like, I think I've got maybe 6 flights in, maybe.
What's out on the table in front of you?
It is a new prop balancer and spinner balancer.
Oh, cool.
And this is something that I recently learned and did some research on it, and I'm like, wow, this would also this is like 10 times better. This is very accurate, I think. The other one I have, I show you.
I bet you're going to show me the one I've got. Let's see. Yep. That's what I use.
Okay, so, but see this axis right here?
Yeah, one side touches the magnet and the other one hangs free.
Okay, now, if you look at that, that is not level. You can see that thing is not level.
Well, I don't let both sides touch the magnets. I keep one side totally in the air. And then when I put the prop on it, I slide the prop as close to the end that is touching the magnet as I can get it. And it hangs pretty free like that.
So you go, you let's see. You go like this.
Yeah.
Like that.
That's right.
Or is it this one?
If I put the prop on that one, the end that's closest to the cones is not touching the magnet. Is that right?
All right.
Okay. Yeah. The prop hangs on the free floating. No. Excuse me. The prop hangs on the end closest to the one that is touching. That way it doesn't make it sag.
Yeah. I mean, see.
I usually, what I do is I put the prop on it and then gap it with a piece of paper and tighten them, and then pull the piece of paper out until one end is floating. And whichever end is floating, I slide the prop away from that end closer to the end that is not floating.
Okay. This has got rollers on it right here.
Yeah, that's to eliminate having to do what I'm talking about. That's probably a higher friction. But if those bearings are good and the wheels are good, and I haven't seen one in real life close up, then it should be close to friction free. What do you use, Gerald?
I've got a little one that I hold in my hand. It's got like two little points, and it just clamps up on the top. Yeah,
I have one of them too.
Yeah, it's probably not very accurate, but
well, you can balance it so that it'll stay horizontal, but with the ones, you know, like with the towers on it, like Tom's got standing up in front of him, you know, you can touch that prop and let it swing and see if it stops all the way around without having to go back and sag in one direction or the other. And that way you can get the hub balanced as well as the tips. However, balancing the hubs gets to be not only tricky, but probably unnecessary for most of the stuff we use.
What's that? The
Balancing it so that
the hub of the
no
prop.
matter where you stop the tips of the prop.
Well, actually, I'm thinking the hub of the prop. I mean, yeah, usually what they use to balance that with is just fingernail polish.
Yeah, or pack it's got holes in the back of it. You can pack with baking soda and CA glue if you want to do that, or mill a little bit off. But I don't like messing around with the hubs too much. You don't want to take any more material than you have to off of that. And with a full size plane, if you've got a plane you fly around in, I can see balancing until every prop tip will stop in any place you put it without rocking out of position. But for model planes, I don't think at the weight we're talking about that it makes all that much difference to the engine if the hub is balanced or not. I do think it's important to be able to get the blades to hang horizontally. If I can get the balance, fine. I'll put 2 check marks on it. But if I can only get the tips to balance, then I'll just put 1 check mark on the back of the prop.
Yeah, in the past I was a lot more fussy about balancing the props, but with the newer
I'm more or less trying to find perfect, so it's just better for my engines, vibrations.
But haven't you found though, sometimes you'll get an unbalanced prop, you'll move it around on your engine, you'll find a nicer spot on that engine and in relation to the piston, and you get those engines that are notoriously unbalanced, and you match it with an unbalanced prop, and you just sit there around until you actually find a better.
Yeah, until it smooths out.
Yeah. I've found that, but in the past I was a lot more fussy about balancing the props. But when I consider how unbalanced some motors inherently are, I don't know how important it really is. Sometimes it's just finding the right position on the hub, and the way it sits on the hub is more important as well. Where some coincide the way that the hub shape fits with the crankshaft, it doesn't always line up perfectly. And if you can get that better, you normally get a much better run as well.
Yeah, sometimes the hole is not drilled exactly through the center of the hub either. APC says to use their big front hole is the one that's guaranteed to be centered. So ream it out until that's the one you're using your cone to center on. And sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. That depends on how many hours you want to sit there in front of a prop balancer, pulling your hair out trying to get the thing balanced.
It's easy to muck up a prop trying to drill it instead of ream it, and I've done that before. When you drill it and this hole's so off center, I can't believe how I got it so bad. But you've really got to be careful how you ream them as well. I've got a couple of different reamers, but sometimes if you're at the field and you're in a rush and you grab a pair of scissors or a pair of pliers and start reaming away, you can really make a muck of it.
Yeah. I don't like throwing them in the trash can either, just because I got too ambitious with my balancing reaming. I do have a prop reamer that I've never actually used.
I use mine all the time. I got a couple of the 4-step prop reamers from Fox when I used to import the Fox product. I bought a whole lot of their wrenches and prop reamers and some of their other tools, but the other thing is sometimes the tapered reamer is actually better than a stepped reamer. So,
oh, really? Yeah, I can see that. I've got a stepped reamer.
And then everybody's got different sizing. If it's a metric or imperial, then sometimes it's just hard to get that exact.
Hey, be right back. That reminds me.
All right. Speaking of stepped, I'd like to, not that I have a whole lot of use for them, but once in a while I think I'd like to have a set of stepped drill bits, which I don't.
Ron Huss mentions that. He says, don't ream, use a step drill. Harbour Freight sells them. Yeah. I know I used to use, sometimes I'd use little countersink drills. They work like a step drill as well.
Yeah.
Something to think about. But
Yeah,
you
I've
wouldn't.
got a little countersink kit that comes with a snap-in attachment for different size holes.
Yeah, that's we're looking through different.
See one of them?
Yeah. Let me click on it and see what it is. I can't see it yet. Oh, tell me what we're looking at here. That's oh, okay. That yeah, that's kind of like what I've got.
My flying buddy got this for me because I fixed his truck. It's great. It's from Japan and it's metric Phillips heads, like for our OS engines. You know, the metric Phillips. You ever run into that problem?
Yeah, I've got both metric and imperial, and then I've got the JIS screwdriver thingies as well.
Yeah. Ron Hass agrees. Don't ream. Use a step drill. Harbor Freight sells them.
Yeah.
I brought up the chat as a separate window, like you talked to Steve about last week. So it seemed to be working well.
Oh, good. It's nice to have an extra set of eyes on it because it's hard for me to keep up with y'all and them and not cut somebody off short without answering a question or something. Or when I'm reading them, sometimes I don't quite hear what y'all are saying, and I might come back and misunderstand what y'all are talking about and say something off the topic.
You do well. You do well. It's a lot to keep your mind on.
Yeah, I'm bad at that. I'm bad at.
I'm sharper some nights than I am other nights too.
I sort of get used to people talking to me all at once when Alina's talking and both boys are both talking to me at once. But my tinnitus in my ears is terrible, so I might just hear none of them at all. When all three are talking, I don't hear a single conversation. It's just noise.
Me, I'm guilty of that. I try not to, but you know, sometimes, man, you know, there's a lot of things that a guy thinks about and goes through all day, you know, and a lot of things that goes through our minds all day long, you know.
My mind is more like a cartoon show. And my wife will say, "Rusty, what you thinking about so hard?" Not, oh, it's just the usual cartoon show that goes on behind my eyes.
That's what I was going to ask Tom if he remembered Roger Ramjet from the 60s. I think it was like 65, 66. Very old cartoon. Roger Ramjet flying along in his jet planes.
I swear I remember that name. I need to look it up because I bet you I could find it on YouTube.
Oh, it's great fun. I used to really love it. It would drive my parents mad when I was young, but I got a great thrill out of it. And when I watch it again with the boys, I had it on VHS for many years. I just saw it at a shop and bought them all and stashed them away. They get a great hoot out of watching them. But yeah, I noticed. Yeah, Ron Haas has said his step drills go from 1/8 to 1/2 inch. So yeah, I'll have to Harbor Freight.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks, Gerald, for popping up the YouTube chat box. That's a big help.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Steve will try popping the chat box up tonight, too, because I explained how to do it to him the other night. Hey, Tom, your mouse looks like mine. It's a Logitech M705 laser mouse.
Hey, that helped me get this thing on. There we go.
Oh, I see. That one sits up tall. I didn't realize it slid on risers like that.
Well, also I can get this thing perfectly. I can get the shaft level.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought when I started researching, I just found it, and I'm like, I just really like the way it operates for me anyway. You know, I don't know yet.
I don't know. I think that might be a superior balancer to the magnetic one because you get high and low and rough spots on the plastic pad that's on the front of the magnets on that top flight one. I think that's the top flight that you got there.
Yeah, this one is
the new. I mean, your old one. Is that a top flight?
This one here, it's a yep.
Yeah, that's what I got. It's got plastic pads on it, but they're rough now. You can polish them, I guess. The little plastic pads on the front of the magnets. Or if it doesn't have, if you didn't put those on, then that might make it kind of hitchy too, not smooth turning.
Okay. Oh.
Speaking of balancing props, I remember one amusing account when I was quite young, going down to the flying field. I had a TD-09. It was on a little radio model, just as like a little power pod. And the instructor said, "Your motor's vibrating something wicked. What's the vibration in this thing? Did you balance your prop?" And yeah, I balanced my prop, yep. And then I was looking all over it, and then he spotted there was a big lump of glue I'd got to the back side of the prop.
Oh.
Hey, that's something to really, you know, yeah, that's something that you check for.
Yeah, it was white. The glue was white, and the top flight prop was white, so I didn't spot it, but he did. It was actually a glue gun. I don't know if the hot glue gun might have been modeled together with the hot glue gun, and somehow must have swiped a big blob onto the prop. But yeah, a little motor like that, you certainly feel it when with the revs they turn a TD. Yeah, it was not very pleasant. Must have been shaking all the gear around in it. Something crazy.
Tom, how expensive was that new balancer?
Perfectly level. I think $16.95.
Dang, not bad. I don't remember how much we paid for the top flights, but
I got it on Amazon.
Yeah, I don't like Amazon too much, but I managed to find what I need elsewhere.
Yep. Okay.
All right, now you're going to balance the prop for us?
Let's see here. What do I have? Well, I got this Thunder Tiger 11 4.5.
Oh, everybody covets those.
Yeah.
Perfect prop for the LA-46.
Yeah, I use the APC 12 4s for the LA-46. For the FP40s, I use the APC 10.5 4.5.
Yeah, it's quite a narrow bandwidth, really, what's the usable props for a motor like that. But you do odd times you'll see somebody come along with a pure radio prop, you know, trying to run a 12/8 or something, and you just think it's well out of the bandwidth of what's acceptable. But yeah, often it's the newcomers. They've got the line length completely wrong, or they've got the wrong sort of lines. They're trying to fly a 40 with the Tyrolean lines, and yeah, you see some really oddball ones come up.
Yeah, I'd say you got a heavy blade there. Now, which are you using, the cone in both front and the back hull, or do you have the flat on one and the cone on the other?
I got cone to cone.
I notice every time I do anything, taking the prop off, putting it back on, I have to retighten, you know, make sure the cones are re-snugged and centered.
Yeah, this is spring loaded.
And it looks like a little bit of weight. And when it's,
yeah, to see
I always wonder where the best place to remove plastic from the back of the heavy blade is, but I usually start in the middle somewhere. I don't know if I should start at the tip. And you don't want to shorten it at the tip.
Look at the tip of this one right here, and imagine, oh yeah, on that side too, you'll see where where it's I take off from a ball diamond field.
Yeah.
So a couple times my props got into the dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's because of the stupid landing gear of last year, you see. Well, we don't have to worry about that problem no more. We fixed that this past winter.
Yeah, you lengthened them, right?
Yep, and everything is great. You know, I flew the bastard, and the gear on the Seahawk Hurricane. Oh man, that plane flies great. I think it flies better because now the wire's off the wing, and there it's using its full airfoil as it goes across and under, and not it being interfered with a wire. Yeah, I don't know. It's on the fuselage, profile fuselage, and yeah, it flies great. So anyway, that's the only thing I've flown this year so far.
I had some of those Lowe's halogen 500-watt halogen lights that always burn up the contacts about the second week you own them, and that's got a good thick glass on the front. So I took one of those out and covered it with sandpaper, and that's what I use to rub my prop on when it's time to start taking plastic off to lighten one side. And I always, you know, just lighten one side, put it back on, recheck it. Yeah, I can get the little flashing off too, like you're doing there.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll strip off in just one thin little string too.
Yep.
On a brand new prop.
This prop here, I put this every prop I put on the plane that I have, it just turns that airplane into, I can't feel it. Turns it into featherweight.
Yeah.
So 4.5 pitch is not for me. That Hurricane, that 46, I've got a 12 by 3.75. Man, that engine's a great running engine. That's a great prop and everything set up for that Seahawk Hurricane.
Pat's place said he just balanced, or he said, I just did my lawnmower blade today. Does that mean he balanced his lawnmower blades? Or?
That's what, yeah, I was just reading that as you said that. I get it, that he balanced his mower blade. I've got a mower blade balancer, and it's a cone, a stepped cone that sits on the table on a little spire, and then it just rocks back and forth, up or down like this, and so I can spin it around and watch and see if both tips are the same height off the table, and then take a little metal off of one end until they both rise to the same height as I spin it around. In other words, just hold a ruler out at the end of the blade with the cone in the middle sitting on top of the inverted cone, and just give it a bump, let the blade spin around, and when it comes around, see if that side's at the same height.
What was it called? Balancing ball, balancing bubble. They used to balance car wheels with back in the day. I remember somebody talking about it once, but they didn't dynamically balance them, but it sort of.
I remember those. Yeah. Yeah, wheel balancing's come a long way since then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially now that they're building machines that'll roll off the showroom floor at nearly 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, and the machines all require a 3-phase. That's a costly setup. You get 3-phase in your house or in your business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the business you're in, isn't it? Automotive.
I set up a couple lathes, end mill and an end mill and a lathe, and had to have 3-phase for it.
Jamie?
It's actually 3-phase is pretty economical, really, and it's got a lot of power. I mean, once you you got to have boxes. You got to run three different gauge wires, hot wires, and there's and a weird voltage. Your third leg is like 117 volts. It's a weird number. And two legs are 240. So you got 440 going in it. Yeah.
Frederico on YouTube asks, how do you know when the prop is balanced?
Well, I should be able to set this prop anywhere I want, and it should stay.
Or if you don't have that much patience, then set it so it at least hangs horizontal in either direction. Have it so it'll hang horizontal this way, then flip it over and make sure it hangs horizontal that way.
Like this?
Well, I just meant rotated 100, but well, yeah, that too, but rotated 180 degrees just on the axle without removing the axle. In other words, if you had it balanced right now so that it was sitting right there, level, then just keep rolling it over till it's level on the 180 degrees off and see.
Oh, yeah.
Back, yeah.
I've got the video saved on, to watch later on my YouTube channel. And I'm gonna go over and review it because it's actual. I think it's Horizon Hobby or Hobby Horizon actually explains how to properly set this machine up and use it. Because
Frank. Frank knows how to balance props.
Frank doesn't visit much anymore.
Yeah, the guy from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, the one I was in our
Washburn. Oh.
Yeah, that's it.
I didn't even know you was on, man. I was looking at my thing and you freaked me out. Like, where'd that voice come from?
How you doing, Jamie?
Oh, not too bad.
We got a couple of new folks on YouTube tonight. Frederico Prolong's not new, but he's from Argentina. He's been here a time or two before, but we don't see him often. And Pat is what I call Pat's Place, call him Pat for short. And Pat's an old plastic modeler from way back when we were flying them in our, back in the 60s and all. And he stumbled across us one night and got interested. So he's been one of our viewers from the shadows. He introduced himself tonight, though.
Well, thanks for posting the pictures on Stunthangar, Jamie, of your contest. It looks like you did okay.
Oh, let me. I got some lag. Let me back out and jump back in because all of y'all are stuttering on me. So I know it's not on y'all end. It's probably my end.
Okay.
Okay.
That's pretty much what it's doing.
Hey.
Don't start doing that. That's what it was doing by itself the other night.
Sorry, I couldn't resist it. I had 2 older sisters when I grew up. Okay, so I that's how I get this. I like to pester.
But yeah, I didn't take as much pictures as I wanted. I mean, and really, when it came down to it, it never even crossed my mind. I had my camera out there. I had my GoPro with me, my video camera, and it's like it just never even dawned on me to.
Man, when I'm getting some serious flying done, the last thing on my mind is my camera.
Yeah. It's hard that one.
So in other words, man, you was a Dos Equis man, right?
Yeah. This way, I seen the coolest plane I ever seen yesterday fly and win expert PA. And that was Frank McMillan's Comet twin electric with retracts.
Yeah, that nice.
control line plane with retract. Flying stunt.
Yeah, flying stunt.
Wow.
And one.
I suppose they fly better with a gear retracted.
It's gears on a timer. So after so many seconds or whatever after takeoff, it comes up, and about 5 seconds before the motor's cut, 5 or 10 seconds before, the gear comes down. When the gear comes down, that's when the motor is about to cut. And just beautiful plane, like beautiful. And
pretty cool.
He even said that's there. I was sitting with Mark Troutman and Howard Williams, who used to join us on the Hangouts. He was there, and somebody said something to Frank, and Frank's like, "This is probably the only time you ever come out and fly in a contest." So.
Well, I'd like to see them electrics with them wheels that come down and go up and down. That is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to be there when a twin is a stunt twin.
I love those.
I like that too much up there. That guy in Alberto.
That's what this stunt twin electric. I mean, nice. But I did get this goodie though.
Bill Rutherford Memorial.
Hi, Steve.
Hey.
Hey, Steve.
How's it going? Couldn't figure out why you guys are holding this on Sunday night.
Oh, yeah? Maybe I got the day of the week wrong, but everybody showed up anyway.
Oh, I keep thinking it was Sunday all day today.
I did all my running around yesterday, so today has just been lay around day in the air conditioning.
It was hot here today. We didn't even fly.
Steve, have you gone back and looked at our rerun from Friday night?
Well, I seen part of it, but it was like
it's all chopped up. It looks like somebody's over at the YouTube office is leaning on the fast forward button or something. Keeps jumping from one conversation to the middle of the next.
I figured that you guys just didn't want to hear nothing I had to say, so you just kept, every time you'd ask me a question, I'd start talking and I'd be gone.
Yeah, well, if you hadn't,
we've had enough of that, Steve.
Yeah,
we've had enough of that guy.
I hear you and Jeff had a pretty good time there, huh?
Yeah, man. I tell you, it was something else to be part of something like that. And to just have that curtain, this 120 foot long, wide curtain and, 15, 20 feet high, all of a sudden just drop in front of you and then ta-da!
Now, was this your mom's brother or?
This is my grandmother's brother.
Oh, okay.
My grandma.
All right, yeah, because I looked for names. I didn't see your last name, so I'm like, well, it had to be on either your mother or...
Yeah, my mother's maiden name is Sowers.
Oh, okay.
So that was Leonard Sowers, Sergeant Leonard Sowers.
I see that name. I got a good friend that I fly RC with, and he's the one who launched the first time Samantha ever flew control line. Through that little half A because they had no landing gear, nothing. And his last name is Sauer, spelled the same way.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, one of our YouTube viewers says hi from Argentina, Federico Prolong. Do you know him?
I think he was at the Nats.
Ah, maybe y'all met out there because he's got an exclamation point after he said hi, Steve. He's one of our YouTube viewers tonight.
Yeah. Well, if he can hear us, I wonder if he's going to the World Championships or not.
Well, he'll tell us in a second. You just asked him. Federico, am I saying your last name right? Prolong? Is that how you say it? Pronounce it. Yeah, Steve, Pat says you got holiday syndrome. Yeah, I got it too. Every time my wife gets an odd day off from work, I get confused about what day it is all week long.
Can you see it? I'm probably going to go back for it.
Don't whack it on anything. I'm gonna, hang on, I'll click on it so the YouTubers can see it up close. There you go.
Can you see it pretty much far enough away, or?
You got it perfect.
That's pretty good.
Only thing we got to redo the tail again.
Yeah,
Bad spots.
let me see that again, Steve. I didn't see it. There it is.
Well, there's the tail of it, or the rudder part of it that goes on.
Yep.
But we sanded everything back off, redid this whole thing today because it was too dark. Now I'm too light. So
no.
at least I can add. And we tried before and we stuck it together. And I'm not sure.
Which part's too light?
But can you see how that, does it show up on there that the tail is lighter than that other stripe now?
I do.
Yep. I can see it.
But it has to come off, and I don't want it to stick. So I don't know if I can use maybe just a little bit of Vaseline or something on there, because that's all fitted, and it fits so tight that I can't paint them together.
I don't think I'd use Vaseline, but I'd have to think about it before I come up with an alternate.
Yep.
That'll soak into the balsa.
Well, it's all cleared, so
Okay.
it's all sealed, but I don't know how to keep it from sticking, and I gotta blend it so it match, because it looks like hell to me from here. But you know, let's see what Samantha goes. It looks almost orange up there compared to it. Before it was like a ruby red.
I think that's a question Sparky could answer for you.
Yep. Or yep.
Where's the other?
Jim Lynn.
Hey, I got a question for you, Tom. When you use your prop balancer there, do you put blocks under it so both sides are exactly the same like they showed on the video?
On this,
Yeah.
what I did was level the shaft. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Well, yeah, they had like blocks made up, and he showed he put the block under one side and set it, and took the block and put on the other side and set it.
I don't know. I got the video. It's I haven't seen it yet. Well, I mean, I have seen it, but I got to review it. I'll look at it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
I don't remember
putting a level on it. That'd do the same damn thing.
I don't remember a block.
You're a lot smarter than what you look, Tom. I didn't think about using a level on it. I was going to make up one.
Minnesota Mike says wax paper. I had thought of that too, but I didn't want to say it because I'm afraid that
another one is parchment paper.
Yeah.
I thought wax paper, but yeah, it just didn't seem appropriate for a plane.
Yeah, I used parchment paper before, and it got in there and stuck on the screw, and it had the screw all stuck together.
Yeah.
And
maybe a feathered edge or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And what it is that because there's a screw that goes through there, but maybe I could get the wax paper in and not use that screw. Be close enough, because I was trying to use the screw and keep it tight together. But yeah, maybe a little piece of wax paper, and so it doesn't flap over, and I can still see the look between the two. I try to do them side by side, spray one and spray the other and hold them up. Once it dried, it was way off.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Charles.
How you doing tonight?
Doing well. How you guys doing?
Not too bad.
We're doing.
Yeah, I'd have been on earlier, but it took an hour for my computer to update.
Oh, yeah.
When I turn it on, I went in that damn update deal. I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
And it'd get up to like 80%, and then be down to 20%. And it'd be up to 82, and then be down to 30. I'm like, what the hell is going on with this?
And then when it's finally finished, you got to reboot it again just to make sure everything fell into the right slots, because they don't always act right until you manually reboot it.
I didn't do that. As soon as it came up to the screen, I kept coming back and forth checking and stuff. I got it all taped for the blue on the bottom of that fuselage, and we want to do that yet tonight too. But then we'll be the same. We'll be the same position on that, trying to get the back part of the blue to match. But
Well,
we just got a little bit of blue. Just
red is
doing
more
it.
difficult. Red's probably more difficult to get it matched up than the blue will be.
I sure hope so. But yeah, there's a couple little things.
Pat's asking if they still make foam planes with hard shell outer skins, and Pat, I think you'd find that in the RC community, but not control line. Nobody makes control line planes that you can just buy in the box anymore.
Ready to fly, ready to cover, but not foam. Well, I suppose Cox got there with their foam wings. The foam wings on the Chipmunk and the ME-109. It's about as much foam as I can remember on a control line plane.
I was wishing somebody would come out with some of these little foamies like they do for electric. Them things really fly good. When we were there in North Carolina, they had all them jets and stuff. I couldn't believe how well all them foam planes flew.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they've got the molds and everything engineered down to perfection, and they just pump them out. And Wayne was talking about that, oddly enough, this past weekend, thinking about, you know, finding a way to set up foam molds to make control line planes with, so you could just, you know, buy them and sell them with everything you need to pull it out of the box and fly.
Yeah, I've kind of been looking to see if there's anything that would you could change over to control line, but because they got carbon fiber and, you know, there's pieces of plywood, whatever, built into that foam mold. So somehow they must put it in there, then inject the foam, and it swells around it and
Yeah,
holds all the carbon fiber.
Well, that's what you can do mass producing, I suppose. It makes sense. It's so hard to glue your pieces of reinforcing in once the foam's made. You'll be for being able to mold it around your spars.
being attacked by killer eels from outer space. That thing got out of it again. Get back in there.
Are you talking
I couldn't figure out what you were holding on it when you were the small one. I had to click on you. I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, it's a cat.
Yeah.
Get any flying in, Charles?
Well,
Yeah, we had a pretty good turnout today. About 8 people, you know, and it was pretty even. We had 4 combat people and then 4 stunt guys. And early on, there was only 1 combat guy, so I joined him, and I flew combat earlier this day. And then I finally got back. Once someone came in combat, I said, I'm going to go fly stunt. So got about 8 flights in, I think, and pretty good day. And Strega is running really good with that new shim adjustment, and it's I tried to go a little bit further. I actually shimmed the tank a little bit more, and then I didn't like it, so I took the shim out and put it back. And my other flying buddy, he said the engine sounded a lot happier.
It's gotta be good to get it closer to the beam than it was when you had it shimmed way off of the mount.
Yeah, it was so strange how I just couldn't tell that the motor was lean sagging, and it just sounded like it was running rich, but it was just lean sagging.
Yeah, back in the old days, in the 70s, they used to have a stunt contest and a combat contest, and the guys flew both and then come out with an overall winner.
Oh, wow.
I don't know exactly how they scored it, but that was pretty big around here for a long time.
We got something similar in New Zealand. Formula 4, they called it, where you had to fly a stunt, combat, team race, and speed all with one model, though. And
like a triathlon.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, so I had fun. It was just, awkward going from a plane that's going about 80 miles an hour to a plane that's only going about 60,
yeah.
and going back and forth because a friend of mine came out and I liked his plane, and he goes, "Why don't you fly it?" And I said, "Okay." So I had just flown my stunner, and then to go to the, a slow combat plane, he's like, "You have to wake up,"
Yeah.
because it's there in a second.
Yeah.
It was hard to believe in the 70s though when we had them contests like that, and they were doing. We never did speed, but we did racing and then combat and stunt. That it looked like what the Nats are now. It was huge. I mean, we'd have damn 100 guys there. The whole, everything filled up, the parking lot and everything else, and it'd be an all-day deal trying to get your flights in and stuff like that. But
we got Pat's asking about combat. Did combat have a tail that you had to catch on the other plane? That's exactly right. Two guys stand in the middle of the circle and fly different speeds depending on which category they're in. But what is about an 8-foot streamer, something like that? And you get 100 points per cut, and you nip it away. If you fly behind him and whack his whole tail off, then he's got nothing left to chop off for points. So you can ruin your chances of scoring by cutting too much of his tail off at once. So nip, 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 nip. That's how you want to do it.
Right.
Oh yeah, the real good combat flyers like this Dick that we fly with. When we used to fly with him, he called it feeding you the streamer.
That's right.
And he'd come in and he'd
down and up and down,
come down and let it take it right off at this, just before the string. Because if you got the string, it was a kill. But he could do it, and it'd be like 3 inches of it there. Then he'd just nip the hell out of you all the rest of the, the thing to beat you and stuff. But
the longer you leave his tail, the easier it is to get cut. So you don't want to take a bunch of it off.
well, what it is too is that you feed it to him. Like you said, once you cut off the 8-foot or 15-foot, however long it is, now your plane's a lot faster because you're not pulling that big streamer slowing you down.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
And then you can go
Also,
there.
you have nothing to lose. I mean, you're on total offense. Once your streamer's gone, you're total offense. You're not even caring about defense.
Well, you know what? That's a tactic I hadn't even considered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not a good thing.
Pat, I got some combat video on my YouTube page. It's way down the list, but Rusty K control line is what you type in if you want to get to my YouTube page. Is this that you're looking at? This is Sparky's YouTube Stunthangar page, but mine's called Rusty K. And look back several years, and you'll find those.
Rusty, do you actually have a match, or you just have someone flying a combat plane?
I've got a couple of matches from one of the contests at Huntersville, and it's got some good cuts in it too.
Very cool. There's a match on there with Greg Hill and Stubblefield on the YouTube channel, and that's a very good match to watch.
There's more now than there used to be. When I first heard about combat and started searching for it on YouTube, I couldn't find much, but later with more people having good cameras and cell phones, there's been some good videos of combat put up. But it's a sport. It is.
How's your dad doing, Tom?
He's doing pretty good.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling him earlier, we just need to rehab. Just needs to keep working.
Good deal. Have you got to fly your new airplanes yet?
Nope. I haven't flown my Stuka yet. And right here, I got my Gobble Swan here, but my friend went to back his chair up and put his leg through the wingtip.
Ah, darn.
Yeah, but I have figured out what I'm going to do here. You see these pieces right here?
Yeah.
after I get it covered, I'm gonna glue the. I'm gonna take dope and dope this back into position. You know what I mean?
Yeah, see what
Yeah.
it does.
And then maybe hand. Yeah.
That's the nice thing about camo. It's supposed to be erratic looking anyway.
Right. So, and then I could maybe take my hand and kind of fine tune it there a little bit, and it'll be at least decent. I just want to fly it, man.
Yeah.
Crap. That's why I'm really mostly upset, because I want to fly the damn thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, one thing was that if a real windy day the way it is now, it won't blow away. You just put your chair through the wing.
Yeah. I was like, I was just like, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Trying not to choke him.
Yeah.
Just put some packing tape on it and go.
Yeah.
He
Well,
had to feel.
I
had
gotta
to
have
feel pretty
structure
bad
to
about
put the packing tape on first.
What, it crushed some ribs or just the
It crushed 2 ribs.
Ah, okay.
Oh, wow.
So he felt terrible about it.
Yeah,
too.
you know he did.
He did, man. He did. I tried. I did really well of playing it off like, dude, it's not a big deal. It's just, hell, I glue a little bit of glue and wood, and boom, it's be fine. I said, it got crazy glue. I said, it'd be okay.
Where deep down inside is like, I'm going to spray raw 15% all over your wing when you ain't looking.
Yeah. It was a bad thing, but hey.
Yeah, things happen.
It happens, and hell, I mean, I know it would have ruined his whole rest of his vacation, because I know that's the kind of guy he is. So
Right.
I got him out of it.
Anyway, you just don't know it.
Huh?
I said probably did ruin his vacation. You just don't know it.
Oh no, I got him on the control line.
Oh, very good.
Last time we flew, we figured we was 13 years old when the last time that me and him flew together.
Wow.
And he lives across the bay, he says, there in San Francisco. And he's avionics is what he's been in avionics. I got him into aircraft when he went to the Navy side, and I went to the Air Force side. So he's been working for United Airlines ever since probably, I don't know, mid-'80s.
Very cool.
Yeah, so he had fun getting on a control line.
Is that a Thunder Tiger prop you're bouncing there?
Trying, yeah.
What size is that?
That's 11 and 4.5.
Oh, I heard it's a nice prop out here.
Yeah, that's the one everybody covets on Stunthangar.
I like it.
Well, I tried it, man, and I ain't putting it on my plane, man. I couldn't feel it. It just was like way super light.
Oh, you think they're light? I don't think they're light. Not compared to a wood prop.
I don't know, man. On my line, I'd go up and do a loop, and as soon as it got up to the top side, I couldn't even feel my plane. I couldn't even feel the tension or nothing. And I'm
I
like,
don't know if that's got anything to do with weight. Actually, that's just
They just need more pitch.
that's just the aerodynamic characteristics.
yeah. So I went to 11.5, and boom! Oh, hey, I can feel the whole plane tension equal all the way around the loop.
Well, that's what you want.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, sometimes a prop does make a difference.
I wish I had some kicker, because it says here, for the hub balance, that I know where my hub is real heavy on this side.
Right.
So they take thick CA and put on the light side of the hub, and and then they sand the leading edge of this blade and trailing edge of this blade on this side.
I sand the hub
Wait a
when I'm
minute.
too lazy to get the CA. I just sand the side of the hub. I don't even bother the blades.
Yeah, I've done that. I don't like to take too much off of the hub, but that's
Right, not too much. Yeah,
the best way to get. That's the best way to get an offsetting weight.
What's that?
Is sand off part of the hub. I hold mine up against a electric belt sander, and just knock it down, knock a flat down on it.
Yeah, like right on the heavy side.
yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah,
That's right. But you be careful, because that's a mechanically integral part to holding that prop together when you're messing with the hub too.
I do it by hand. I that's how I've done it.
Yeah. I was telling them that when I'm balancing a prop, I've got the thick glass that comes out of those 500-watt halogen lights that you buy at Lowe's that always burn out in a week, and glued sandpaper on it, and just keep it next to the balancer, and use that to rub the blade on when I need to knock off little bits at a time.
Huh.
Well, Tom, if you don't have kicker, you can use baking soda. Just have a little container of baking soda and sprinkle it into it.
Yeah, I do that too. That's what I do with the holes on the back of the prop, is pack them full of baking soda and then hit it with thin CA, and that is hard as a rock. Just make sure you don't overdo it, or then you got too much.
You just happen to have baking soda right there, huh, Tom?
Yep.
Yeah, I always keep a shot glass full of baking soda and a shot glass full of sawdust on the table when I'm.
So, what are you trying to get the hub balance now, Tom?
Yeah.
He didn't know we were going to put him to work when he showed us his new prop balancer.
Oh no, I've been meaning to do it for a while, because I need to get it set up, and I need to learn how to do it. Because I got a couple of airplanes I need to take the props off of and learn.
Yeah, they were just showing just a little bit of CA, just putting a drop of CA on the hub, but you may not need that much.
Maybe.
Yeah, that bottom hub is heavy because it always goes to that certain side. That's what they show on the video. They add just a little CA on the top of.
Yeah, the CA on top of the light.
Yeah.
But when I balance the hub, Tom, I have it vertical, not horizontal. When I'm doing horizontal, I'm balancing the blades. When I'm balancing the hub, I'm balancing it with the hub straight up. And usually I do that after I balance the blades horizontally. And when a prop is...
It wants to go back to horizontal, but it won't stay vertical. So the hub is still not balanced right then.
Yeah, that's what they said in the video. You should be able to put the prop any place in that.
Any place, and it should just
place, it stays there exactly. When I finally have it done, I can put the prop any position I want and it doesn't move. That does take time to get it like that.
Yep.
Y'all want to hear how my weekend went?
Yeah, how'd your weekend go?
It's quite exciting. Let's see. Yeah, it took us only 2.5 hours to get to Houston instead of 4.
Wow.
We got there about 8:45, and Frank Williams was out there laying out the pits. Then we talked to him a little bit. He left. So we were there flying from like 9:30 that morning till about 6:30 that evening.
Good.
Steaming hot sun of Houston. I don't know if you know Gaylord Ellie or heard of him.
Yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah.
Guy from Austin. Him, his brother Greg, and another guy, they had showed up. And so we were all flying. So anyway, roll around to Saturday. We roll out. They do old time stunt first, then they move to classic. And they got about maybe 3 guys left in classic. on the last round, and right after that, they're going to break for lunch. So I go up and I look at the board to see when I'm flying or if anybody else is a beginner. And I look in the profile, and you got all the names thrown together. My name's in the middle of the list. So I go to one of the ladies that does the scores and whatnot. I'm like, I thought that profiles always, you know, all separate skill levels, you know, beginner, intermediate, and whatnot. So no, over here it's open. Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and go learn the pattern right quick. So, so I got about an hour to learn the full pattern. Never flown it before in my life. You know, never done hourglass, square eights, none of that good stuff. So I take off running. If any of y'all ever been to Scobie, where the pavilion is to where the outside concrete circle is, I take off running full blast. I get over there, and there's Steve Meat and my buddy John. They're flying. I start rolling out my lines, and I'm like, shit, hold on. I only got a 3.5 ounce tank on my primary force with a 46 LA because I have it set up to fly the beginner pattern.
Oops.
And John's like, that ain't gonna work.
No.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, shit. What if I just lean it out? I can run it hot, you know? Yeah. All right. And he's like, nah, you don't want to do that. I'm like, yeah, I'm sitting there, I'm like, hold on. What about my Ringmaster? It's with a 25. It has the exact same tank. Got a 3.5 ounce tank. Oh yeah, that ought to do it. So I roll them lines back, take off running back to my tent, get my Ringmaster, run back, set up the lines. So get the engine going. And as I take off, I start making my first 2 laps, and Steve comes, meets me in the circle, lays down there, and he's calling out laps and maneuvers because whenever I fly a beginner pattern, I'll do 2 full laps, and on the 3rd lap, then I'll do my maneuver. As I learn on the full pattern, you do 1 lap, and then on the 2nd one, then you do your maneuver. So Steve's calling maneuvers out in order because I don't know the order of the maneuvers. And I get down, get to the hourglass. I go up, come across, I come down a little too narrow and try to pull it out, and smash goes the ring. Right into the concrete. And
holy crap.
Oh yeah. Pulling out the hourglass bust up. So I'm like, all right, this ain't too bad. Then I realized, shit. The Friday morning, my first flight, the wind, after I took off, the wind pushed it down, and I nipped the prop I had on before. And that was my last prop I just smashed into the ground. Now, I had a top flight wood 9.5, but I've never flown it whatsoever. I've been flying APC from the get-go. So I mope on over to my tent on the other side of the field, and one of the guys had told him what happened. He's like, oh, well, here, take this one. You know, it's balancing everything. So I'll go throw it on there. So I'm flying. I'm doing another round of it. Try to get another flight in. And
this is your Ringmaster or your primary force?
My Ringmaster.
Oh, so it survived the crash?
Oh, yeah. It only busted the prop.
Okay.
It's pretty much kind of pancaked it, in other words.
Okay.
Didn't even bend the gear. And so I flew that flight, but I had to bail out on like 3 maneuvers because I either came down, I was either too narrow, too low, you know, and the wind was starting to pick up a little bit. So I was like, okay, whatever. So we break for lunch, and I was going to try to get another flight in. First flight was, I think, Stubberfield. Old Stubby was first. And then I was 4th. So Stubby's flying. I'm sitting there. I'm like, all right, you know, I'm going to go take another practice flight. And somebody's like, I think you're next. I'm like, no, I'm 4th. I'm like, no, 2 guys passed. I think you're next. Go check the boards. So I run back across the field. Look at the board. Sure enough, 2 guys passed, and Rich just finished his clover. I'm like, oh, shit. Run back over to the other circle, grab my plane, get it ready. We take off. We go. So Steve's in a circle with me again, laying down on that blistering hot concrete. So we're getting through the maneuvers. Not too bad. Done them all. Didn't bail out on anything.
Wow.
And so I could officially say my first ever full pattern was done at Scobie in the middle of a contest. and I scored 402 on that first flight.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here comes the second flight, and I got the tank topped off. You know, I have to top it off. After the first flight, I still had like 5 or 6 laps until the engine cut. Second flight, I'm going. Yeah, all my maneuvers, and it's looking better. My squares, I'm looking more squares. My triangles are a little bit tighter. Yeah. Hourglass wasn't bad. The square 8s were actually kind of decent looking. So I'm coming around to the clover. I do my first inside. Do my set my first in outside. When I come up vertical,
Oh no!
He's going vertical, and Steve's like, "Run back, run back, run back!"
Yeah.
I mean, I've flown a ringmaster enough. When it dies, you know, going vertical, it just flops over and noses down, and then it pulls right out.
Dead duck.
So I got 10 points for the attempt on it.
Yeah.
And let's see. I know I didn't get the.
But you got pattern points for the earlier flight, right?
No, I didn't get pattern points.
You didn't.
And I mean, they scored me a landing, but I didn't get pattern points because I guess I didn't complete it.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't get the 2 laps afterwards and all that other stuff. So that flight ended up being 375.5 from not finishing the pattern. If I would have finished it, my score could have possibly been 440, 450, you know, depending how, you know, it actually would have came out.
Very good.
So I ended up dead last in open profile. I mean, I'm flying against Joe Gilbert, Stubblefield.
Yeah. Hey, that sounds like a pretty good score for somebody that was under all the stress after running over there with everything and getting set up, then swapping planes and going through all that. I'd say that was a success.
Yeah,
pretty cool. I mean, after the first flight, as soon as the plane stopped rolling, everybody come running out the tents, clapping, hollering. And so let's fast forward to yesterday morning.
Okay.
So I get to the field. We're farting around. I'm not even bothering practicing because they got a couple others with their stunt ships getting things right. I'm like, yeah, I'm flying a ringmaster again, whatever. So I go look at the board. They got me put down as beginner because when I signed up as beginner.
And it's nice.
And we had one guy in beginner. And I looked and so I looked back at the lady. I'm like, move me up. She's like, huh? I said, move me up to intermediate. She's like, you sure? I'm like, I flew the pattern yesterday. If I fly beginner today, people ain't gonna like it. You know, go ahead and move me up.
I was watching YouTube.
I'm initiated. Let's do it.
Hairstyles.
Very good.
And, I'm kind of happy because the judges they had for yesterday for PA, they weren't too lenient. You know, oh, you know, you did extra lap here, or you was a little wide here. Your bottom wasn't, you know, at 6 foot or 5 foot, or, you know, I mean, they were critical with everybody, whether you're beginner or intermediate. So the guy that flew beginner flew a Cardinal, and I mean, flew a beautiful pattern. And he actually flew at the Nats last year, and I think he crashed. I don't remember what he had told me, but he said he never scored over 200 at a contest. Well, a few weeks ago, I scored 275, and my flight wasn't nearly as pretty as his, and he scored at 220.
Huh.
That goes to show if I would have flown beginner, you know, he would have waxed me, you know, and ain't no telling what I would have scored. But I made my first pattern, and I had the sun in my eyes the entire time, except when I did my initial wing over and my overhead 8.
That's always the way.
Oh, yeah. The sun's in the intersection. I'm trying to, like, block it and look at the plane. I was all over the place. So I scored 296 on that one. Plus, on top of that, for some odd reason, I bailed out of my horizontal 8. I did my first outside, first inside, or first inside, next outside, then my next inside. And then I just went on out. I didn't even do the next outside and roll out. So I didn't get the pattern points for that. And I thought I did. And you know, so the next flight was better, and I ended up scoring 335 or 338. The guy because we were supposed to have 4 of us, one of them didn't show up. The second place guy got like 370 something, and he flew a smoothie. And the guy that took first in intermediate scored a 470 with a ringmaster.
Wow,
That's a pretty good score with a ringmaster.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was flying good. I mean, they were critiquing the hell out of him. I was standing there whenever they were judging. I mean, there was like, no, he came out a little shallow. You know, oh, he waffled a little bit. You know, and
They're not supposed to be talking to each other.
oh, the judges?
No, you're not unless there's a question.
Oh, no, I mean, they were having the time of their lives.
Oh well.
Yeah, I've seen that before too, Rusty. I've had a contest.
Local contests sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't too bad, but I kind of like that they were pretty. I mean, I'm gonna say by the book with judging. That way, you know, the scores can reflect. You know, in other words, like if for Saturday,
if a beginner steps up and flies a 40-point square loop, then you should give him 40 points. There's no reason to discount off of his score because he's not an expert.
Right, exactly.
They call that bracketing, and bracketing is a wrong way to score, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. It is wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I find, you know, when you strict, you know, in other words, if the maneuver's right, you get the score, that's what you got. You know, unlike me, I feel like Saturday I flew. I think they were pretty lenient. Even though my first flight wasn't too bad, my second was much better. I think they're a little lenient and kind of padded my score. But
I also want to encourage you to, knowing it's not going to change who gets a trophy or anything, you know. So, yeah.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, I flew much better. My pattern is much better Saturday than I did yesterday, by far. By far.
Yeah, it happens.
Even though the wind was kicking, you know, a good bit. I mean, like I had a takeoff score of like 33 for the profile yesterday. My best score overall out of my 2 flights. Let me see here.
33 is a pretty good takeoff.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh, and they were critical on that. You know, they wanted you to go that quarter lap and then lift up and then proceed.
Well, a quarter lap is a maximum. Remember that. Minimum 15 feet.
Yeah, they didn't want you to, like, you know, just, you know, as soon as you roll 2 foot, just zoom up in the air.
Yeah. If they jump off the ground, I've been taught to start judging at 30. You know, basically, if they just shoot it straight off the ground, then start at 30 and discount from there. But if they roll it out good, that's always nice. You start at 40 and look for little wobbles and jinks, and that's all. Make sure they climb for a full lap before they hit the 5-foot flying height.
And in fact, my best maneuvers out of my 2 flights, let's see, I had a takeoff of 25, inside 25. But my my clover on my first flight from yesterday morning was a 26. And I think that was my highest scoring maneuver of all for yesterday with them terrible flights. Flying that quirky little ringmaster.
Well, that's impressive, Jamie. That's pretty impressive doing the pattern at a contest the first time.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
pattern to full pattern at a contest. That is,
especially when you hadn't planned on flying, you know, and all that. So,
especially doing, like, for sure, square 8s and horizontals that I never tried whatsoever at all. Period. Boom.
Wow, that's very impressive.
And I think I've done outside 8s like once. You know, and that was actually kind of fun. Everybody said that's the scariest maneuver. I don't see no problem with it. Don't bother me. Then again, I'm flying a ringmaster. If it smashes, oh well. You know, and I guess it ain't like, you know, smashing a stunt ship that you spent 100 hours building.
You said outside 8s. What did you mean? Outside squares?
I mean, the outside square 8s. Oh, listen.
There's a horizontal square 8. There's an overhead 8, and there's
inside. No, not the squares. Outside square loops. I'm sorry.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
and outside square loops took me forever to pull the trigger to actually execute.
We've got a good question over here on the YouTube side. Pat is asking how long are our lines these days, and average, I'd say, is around 60 feet, but that's part of trimming your plane to get 5-second laps, which is most people's idea of the optimum speed for flying stunt is 5-second laps. So first you get your engine running right to where it's happy, and that's a matter of selecting the the prop size, and then once you get the prop pitch set so that it's close, if you can't quite hit 5 seconds, if you're flying a little bit faster or a little bit slower, then 1 foot of line length is 1/10 of a second. If you shorten your line length by a foot, then it flies 1/10 of a second faster in a lap. Or if you lengthen by a foot, it flies 1/10 of a second slower in a lap. So that's, but I always start right around 60 with every plane, unless it's a smaller plane. Like if it was a Ringmaster, I might start with 58 feet and see just what the lap speed was. Once I was pretty sure the engine was happy with my prop combination. You can change the speed by increasing or decreasing the prop pitch, and then that's about as close as you can get without varying the line length. Does that sound like a decent answer?
Yeah, it does. I use the line length more as a broad adjustment, and then the prop pitch is a fine adjustment. And so that's kind of how I do it. But you're right, you get the motor, at least in my case, I get the motor happy, and then I work around that.
Yeah.
And that's how I adjust the lines, and then I adjust this. And then but I do try to get the longest lines I can possibly get. That's kind of what I strive for, as long as my fuel tank is big enough, because when you get longer lines, it's a longer distance the plane has to go.
Yeah.
So it's
the plane
But when I can get, like I had my Strega up to a 66-foot eyelet to eyelet, and it gave me more space to do the maneuvers in. And right now I'm flying on 62 feet lines. I'm going to probably go up to 63 because my lap times today were 4.9 seconds. So another 10th will put me at 5-second lap time. So that's my next thing, is to go to a 63-foot line. I'll probably keep it there.
Yeah. Now there is a point of confusion as pilots. We talk about line length is eyelet to eyelet on your spool of line, and that's usually 60 feet for me. But officially, you measure from the handle to the center of the fuselage. So you're adding another, 2 or 3 feet.
Yeah.
Center
of handle and center of fuselage.
Yeah.
Is line length.
Yeah. But when we're just sitting here jabbering about trimming a plane for speed, and you ask me how long my lines are, I'll tell you how much line's on my spool. As a general rule. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice to get lines that are exact. It's like I can go out to a field and just switch lines without ever having to find neutral again.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And also the maximum allowed is 70 feet, right?
Yeah.
And that's from center of handle to center of fuselage, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and lines stretch a little bit, so you want to be a little bit under that 70 feet if you're going to go to.
Yes. Yeah. But that was Pat was asking about that over on YouTube. Yeah, he was saying be nice to try along lines like that, because we flew at maybe 30 feet back in '68. But yeah, when you're flying half A, which is the class those small planes used to be called, the little ones like with 049 engines and all, that's 30, 35, 40. That's how many feet we usually fly those on.
Yep. Yeah, I fly with Pat. He won beginner last year. He flew his first full pattern yesterday. It was funny when he got to the Clover. He did the one, and then he'd do another, and then come back and did two, and then finished out. And he's like, I had to think what I had to do next, and I didn't want to rush it because it was the first time I did it. But it looked funny because he did two every time.
That's funny.
The next time he was fine, but
we talking about our YouTube Pat here?
No,
Pat.
No. He's one that won beginner last year at the Nats.
Yeah, Pat Imoff. Yeah, he did his first full pattern yesterday.
He's a good guy.
He's the one who he actually bought a house just over by me, and before he even moved in or anything, we lost our flying field. So we went and mowed the back of his yard, and put in the circle where Samantha flies all the time before he's in the house. So he keeps it all mowed and everything else. So that's where we fly.
Oh, yeah,
Wow, that's my kind of house.
Yeah,
You know,
I think it's 5 or 6 acres he's got there. And he took the whole back of the behind his garage back, and we actually could put another circle in if we wanted to go deep. But how the parking is, it's not. I guess we could kind of get a road along the side or whatever, but one circle's good enough. We just take turns, and yeah, that was neat though when he did this clover.
Pat asks how many cc's we're using. Well, I can tell you how many cubic inches we're using, but anywhere from, usually stunt ships fly at the small end, 25 size engines, all the way up to what? Some people fly 90s, don't they, Charles?
Yeah, I've seen
4
some
strokes.
90s.
Yeah, I've done 94 stroke before.
Most of what I fly are between 35 and 46 cubic inches. Point 40. I mean, point 35 and 46.
You're gonna have to add some glue to the top of that hub.
I have.
You got the blades balanced. You just gotta
Yeah,
add some glue to the hub.
I've got a big chunk glued to it now with baking soda, which is even heavier.
Well, sand off the hub on the other side.
Yep.
I'll have to go back and watch what Jamie said. I missed the last bit because I had to run off because my 2 boys were banging at the back door to get in. The wrong end of the house. I couldn't hear them getting off the bus. So I couldn't hear the bus. So I'll have to rewatch the video to see what happened on the Sunday.
Oh, I scored. I flew terrible and scored bad. to make a long story short, I flew bad and scored terrible. 296.
Yeah, but your first official though, that's still pretty good.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
You're
Be right
nervous.
back, fellas.
Come home with the airplane.
Have to use the bathroom. Be right back.
Oh yeah. I mean,
100 there.
I only brought that Ringmaster as a backup because I did not want to fly it whatsoever. Because I wanted to fly the primary force because it just flies so much better. And it just irked me that that the tank wasn't big enough. But I got that. That's gonna be fixed this coming weekend. I got a tank coming to me. That's a snub nose RSM 5 and something or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm gonna go do some more paint and try to blend in that tail and see how that works. And
Hey Steve, real quick before you go, how do you come up with your color scheme? Do you
Samantha picked it out.
She draw it on a piece of paper, or how do you guys do it?
Just kind of talks me. We got tape, and it's like, okay, where you want to do it? And she's like, well, I got the wings. I'll go get a wing. I'll show you what we're doing on that.
All right.
But yeah, she finished taping that to where the blue's going to be.
And I was talking to a friend of mine. I'm entertaining taking my plans, and I'd like to just remove all the, as far as on like a PDF, remove all the ribs and bulk formers and just have just a silhouette. And I was thinking about, drawing in with colored pencils, try different things on, shrink it down to 8.5, 11 sheet of paper and just try different color schemes. Kind of what I was entertaining to do for my Pathfinder.
I'm typing back and forth on YouTube here.
Yeah,
Says,
Pat,
we're giving Pat the itch now. He was asking me about prop sizes and says he's going to dig his stuff out and go fly. So I told him to get his camera ready because we're going to want to see.
Good.
This will be the wing, and then this here in the center, it'll have a light stripe of white between it. That'll be blue, and it's going to come up short.
Okay.
Got this on the bottom of it. She's got this marked and then it's going to be the same size, a 1-inch blue stripe that meets that on the bottom, and then we'll have our numbers in here, and the other side will have the name of the airplane on it. And
are you going to paint the numbers on, or are you going to use vinyl or something?
we're going to paint them on. So that's the plan anyway. We went and got some that stuff you put on. You cut the numbers or whatever, letters, everything else, and something tack. I can't think what they call it. Something tack.
Okay. I remember Sparky was talking about him using the stuff you use for like in your kitchen cabinet. There's the that tacking, that contact paper kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he cut out the numbers and he laid it down. And it's a soft tack type of paper, and then shoot it and then just lift it up. You know.
Yeah, we bought 10 feet of it. I think it was $8. It's 1 foot by 10 feet. So we should have plenty. And then we'll take it over because John Pierce got my cutter, my vinyl cutter right now. We'll take it over to Dick's house and then cut that. And it's just vinyl, but it's got a real light tack on the adhesive. So we should just be able to lay it down, spray paint it, and then peel it back up.
That sounds good.
That's what we're hoping.
Can have appearance points at the World Championships?
No, No, she just wanted to do this. So now this plane will be BOM legal. I tried to talk her out of it, and I was just going to pay to have it done. But she wanted to do it herself, so we've been doing it. But hopefully we clear on Wednesday, because tomorrow's Tuesday now, isn't it? Hopefully we clear on Wednesday, and then we'll fly it this weekend.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
that sounds good, Steve.
But I got to get off because I want to get at least that red painted, and we wanted to get blue on it tonight before I go to bed, and it's already almost midnight.
Yeah, 11:42 by my clock. Okay,
Yeah.
Steve.
All right, guys.
Yeah, well, good night.
See you Friday. Hopefully, we'll be able to show you it all done and cleared.
That'd be great.
Look at that.
I got it.
That's what I'm talking about, Tom. There we go.
Let's see. Hang on. I'm clicking on you.
There we go.
All right. Now, if you touch that prop, it'll stop anywhere. I usually use a knuckle hair to stop it with. There you go. Yes. Oh, no. You don't have your fan blowing, do you? Every time you think you got it exactly right.
But it's close, though. You're almost there. And I might even be good enough to fly the plane.
Got to stop breathing, too.
I've never had one that close before, so.
That's pretty good. Don't touch it now. And don't.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See you Friday.
Okay.
All right.
Good night, Steve.
Yeah, I'll be gone doing a flying event,
Oh, okay. Well, have fun.
but I'll be on Monday. Let you know.
All right. Sounds good. See you guys later.
See you
Later.
See ya.
And Pat's leaving us over from YouTube too. So good night, Pat. Thanks for coming and introducing yourself. It was fun. We had a good time with you guys over on the tube tonight.
See you, Pat.
Did a little wizard or something. He wanted to have a go at again.
Yeah. I hope he can dig it up.
Yeah,
Probably got some hanger rash. Make sure the mice hadn't chewed your lead outs up.
Boy, it's amazing how this plastic is this far off.
Yeah, it's amazing. It was probably extruded too, so that's kind of surprising.
Like the density changes or something as it goes in the mold. Maybe, I don't know, but I've noticed that the nylon ones in particular can be quite far off, even though they look correct. Whereas a lot of the like the APC seem to have a better balance out of the box to me. I don't know. It just varies a lot between brands.
Got a nice sharp trailing edges, and I got nice rounded leading edges. That's what you want, right?
Yeah.
Now, leading edge shape is a matter of preference. sometimes that'll you know, affect the characteristics of the prop.
So
And Pat wants to know if wood's better. I personally prefer fiberglass props, like APC's fiberglass, isn't it, or something?
Yeah,
Nick?
it's a type of fiberglass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fiber reinforced plastic, I think.
Yeah, and the big guys use carbon fiber, but they pay a lot of money for those props.
yeah, about 38 to 45 bucks a piece.
Them suckers will chop a finger off too.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and they don't twist. They don't bend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're very. I have a few carbon fiber props.
When they twist it
Yeah.
in, it changes the pitch during the flight too. So
Yep.
yeah, nylon props. Pat, nobody really uses nylon anymore like the old top flight props that you had to boil back in the 60s. If you find any of those, do not use them.
Well, I do, even though I'm not supposed to.
They are, you wear a football helmet with a face mask.
Guys,
Face mask on.
guys want to see what I got? Oh, come on.
What do you got?
Ooh,
Oh wow! Wow, look at you. Are you gonna fly that one?
That's the real Memphis Belle, Charles.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I haven't watched the video Sparky did of it yet, but I'm gonna get around to it eventually.
Yeah, it was quite good, this video. Terry sent through some videos as well with general aviation ones and relating to the spell too.
Boy, I tell you, that ceremony had wonderful food. There was one table that had 3 platters of cheese. Nothing but all kinds of different cheeses. I mean, you name it, it was there. And they was about 4 foot diameter. The tables, all the tables, there's 4 of them. They was 16 foot long. One table, I swear, had a 200-pound leg off of a cow. It looked like a tomahawk. One of them tomahawk steaks.
Wow!
With a great big bone sticking out. This guy had a 2 foot long shaver and was shaving off meat and putting it on people's plates. And there was turkey, smoked turkey. They had a bunch of smoked turkey there too. Boy, that was good.
Make me hungry.
Yeah. Then there was one table had meatballs, dude. I was in heaven there. Had let's see, Italian meatball, had chicken buffalo meatball, had Swedish meatball, and what was the other meatball? Oh, honey barbecue meatball. Oh man.
Good.
Always knew you were about them balls.
Huh?
Always knew you were about them balls.
Oh yeah. I got a pair here too, man. They're Illinois mountain ones if you want.
Illinois mountain oysters.
That's right, Illinois mountain ones.
Very good.
Yeah, it was some good food, man. It was great. A lot of people there, and you know, it was fun talking around and talking to them about history like that. But it's amazing to be there and having that aircraft, looking at it and knowing that what it went through. 25 flights of hell. You know?
I'm not really familiar with the history of the Memphis Belle. I need to read up on it.
Yeah. It was something. You know, it was like they was climbing inside of a coffin. You know, to me, make it back, go through what they had to go through. All the German fighters, they was just like they was like fish in a barrel, poking them off, you know, shooting them out of the sky, them Germans. Yeah. There's something to just see a real something real like that went through all that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, they did some major restoration on that baby too.
Oh yeah, they did. I never did see this before, but in the tail section of the aircraft, out from right in the middle, in the bottom, out come this copper wire, and then it comes straight down, and then it had an insulator, and then it made a T. It wrapped around another copper wire, and that went forward and aft of the fuselage, and then there was an insulator. You ever seen anything like that?
Lightning rod?
That's what I thought. No, it was the guys, that was their radio antenna. So when they was coming back and they was radioing their base, giving them a report. Yeah, that was the radio they used.
Okay.
So it was actually a radio that was taken out as soon as it came, as soon as it left, before it left the base of England. They didn't have that antenna on there. When it come to the States and did the Bond tour, they had other radios in.
Mm.
That's when some of the modifications started.
Oh,
As soon as
okay.
we got back on the War Bond tour, all the engines came out and all the engines had their modifications done. There was all kinds of different modifications done, before it was released to go on the War Bond tour. So it was this restoration. They completely took it back to where it was when it landed in England.
Interesting.
So they had to reverse everything. But they did a good job because that airplane looks brand spanking new.
Wow. Now, where did you see this airplane at?
It's in it's at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. It's at the National Air Force Museum.
Oh, wow.
And that place is huge.
That's I've heard.
It's just one building is World War one building is World War II, and then you got all your modern aircraft and the president's planes are in there, a few of them, and pretty neat stuff, man. Even what was like a 1.7 megaton thermonuclear warhead. This thing is just, I mean, huge. I just can't comprehend how big it is, and yet and there was the airplane that carried it right beside it, and it's just the size. It's like you can't even see how this thing would even take off. And you could see the plane was so big that the skin, when they get up so high, that cockpit was pressurized. Or, I mean, the pressure going up is thinner than the pressure. So everything will want to go expand, right?
Okay.
Where if you're in water, everything wants to crush you.
Yeah.
Well, you can see the skin where it expanded.
Oh, yeah.
And it has ripples like the airplane's like, blowed up with air.
It breathes.
Yeah, I mean it's just amazing. These old aircraft, knowing what they did and what they went through, and there they are. Just like Doolittle. Doolittle's family was there at the ceremony.
Yeah, now Doolittle's close to home here in Columbia. What's all that?
I don't know.
We got some reverberation.
Yeah,
Reverberation. Only when you talk, Rusty. Try it again.
Check. I don't know what that was all about.
No, it was reading before.
Now I forgot what I was saying. Oh well, never mind.
Hey, I know I forgot what I was saying. That's our old age.
I had something profound to say. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I know. Doesn't that make you just drive you crazy? Yeah, I mean, just Doolittle's plane. That's what. Doolittle's family was there, and I talked and met with them a little bit. That was kind of neat.
Yeah. I was saying the Doolittle Raiders are close to home here in Columbia because they trained for the bobbing run here over Lake Murray.
Moby Dam.
Yeah.
Well, there was one of the Doolittle Raider planes in that museum too.
Really?
Yep. And they had it kind of cool because they had it all set up. They had mannequins and stuff all set up, going around it like they was working on it. It was really neat. That was a great display. They even had all the Doolittle Raiders that took a shot drink out of their giblet, you know, which is a shot glass.
Yeah.
You know, and they're made out of silver, and the cognac bottle was there, and there was still this much left of, you know, a little bit left in the bottle after they poured everyone a drink, you know, and they put that bottle in them giblets in glass there right by the Doolittle plane, and the cognac bottle was dated 1896.
Wow.
Yeah. There's some, you know, just like World War One. You know, here I got a picture of, and you know, they have the Red Baron's plane up. I don't know if it's a real one. It's up in the air, but
it's a replica.
It's mainly
his plane. His DR1 crashed. He was shot down in it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it must be a replica then.
Yeah, it is.
Because I got a picture with it. Anyway, they had a lot of planes that was built in that era, and all the information you wanted to know just by reading right there. It was just like you was walking back in World War One.
Wow.
You know, they had pilots' uniforms on display and maps and different styles. You know, it was cold up there in the air, you know, and different. It was just different. They had like these little masks that they made to keep their face warm.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that was just amazing. A lot on the engines. The engines were really fascinating. I really liked that. It was really kind of like real simple to build, really, you know.
Tom, did they have a section to talk about the Tuskegee Airmen?
Nope.
No. That's too bad.
Wait a minute. There was a part in there with Tuskegee Airmen, but I think the main museum for them, isn't it in Washington or out on the East Coast somewhere?
I know in Alabama.
Tuskegee, that was in Alabama, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
They have a museum in Alabama for them, but I think there might be another one. Might be at the I can't even think about it. Shit, my mind just went blank.
Tuskegee is in Alabama.
Yeah, that's where they trained at.
Yeah.
I want to say they also have a museum over there where they trained at as well. Now I don't know if it's as glamorous as say like as that, or it might be shit. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of the name of it.
They had some P-51s there, but they didn't have any red tails there.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't see any red tails there.
The plan I'm using for my Sterling Mustang whenever I get it built is the Tuskegee theme, because I'm a big fan of them. I mean, that was
me too.
Great outfit.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of
Same
them.
thing. I have a Sterling Mustang also. I thought of doing a Tuskegee Airman.
Yeah, that's huge to me. I really, you know, after reading all about them, and the movie, there was a good movie about them too. And,
yeah, there's two of them. I have both. They're really good movies. I enjoy them.
Yeah, I got the one where the guy who starred in Matrix.
Yes,
That's
that's the first one. That's the first movie.
And then the other one was
that one's called Red Tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, Junior Gooding was in both of them, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
But you know, all the bomber squadrons requested them because they flew the best cover of any outfit, and they didn't know that it was a bunch of black guys. You know, I mean, what?
Yeah.
Wait. And,
yeah, the movie kind of talks about that a little bit.
Yeah, they were buying them drinks after they found out too, man. I mean,
yeah, they was.
You know what? Especially at the end of the movie when the war was over and they got off the ship, and the first thing they saw was Negroes this way, whites this way, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, God damn, you know.
Things don't change very quickly. Then they had the same thing where they segregated out Maori from the other European combatants in World War One and World War Two. That happened part of colonial England, I suppose, too. That segregation thing.
You know, that really opened up things, even like for the athletes in basketball and football and baseball. It really was,
the
it
Olympic
really was the Tuskegee Airmen from World War One that opened up people's minds that these people are capable,
You know,
of the things. You know,
another group that is just as under recognized are the ones they call the computers at NASA that used to calculate the orbital trajectories for the moonshots, and not only that, but for, you know, leading up to that. And these were, I mean, John Glenn didn't care what the IBM computer put out. He wanted those women, one in particular, to do the calculations before he was climbing in that capsule. And she came back and calculated it further out in decimal points than the IBM had calculated it. So he got on the road and he came back and hit the target, you know. So, that was a great movie. I forget the name of it.
It's called Hidden Figures.
That's it. Yeah. That was a good movie. I just watched it a couple months ago.
I got to roll, work early in the morning.
All right, man.
It's our time anyway. Thanks, Jamie. We'll see you later.
Big congrats, man. Can't give you high praise, man. That was awesome. We did do that full pattern the first time at a contest.
Yeah, congratulations.
Oh yeah, with a junkie ringmaster too. Balls.
You know, for the rest of your life now, you can say, I competed in control line precision aerobatics, and you know, nobody can take that away from you.
Oh yeah, I went against Joe Gilbert with a ringmaster and lost.
Yeah, I'll be seeing Joe for long.
Very good. I wish I could see him again. I enjoyed his company at the Brodak a couple years ago. Guys are kicking the pants.
Even Rich Oliver was there too. He was there.
Very cool.
On Saturday afternoon. He didn't fly though. But I thought he would have flew yesterday for PA, but he didn't. But I am pleased to say that the ringmaster is officially retired.
All right.
From a competition, and if anything could help it from flying, period, it's going on the wall, and that's that. Done with it. Done. In fact, I'm gonna finish my magician to fly classic.
You still have your sunglasses on, dude.
Yeah, you can tell that, huh?
Yeah.
That's how bright and sunny it is down in Houston.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Well, you can already tell. I got the Indian already kicking in. I get outdoors for 5 minutes and I darken right up.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's about that time.
Yeah.
But and this was a good show. I'm glad after Friday's debacle of technical difficulties, we came back and redeemed ourselves. And we had some good visitors too. We had a couple of new guys, one new, one relatively new. Pat, thanks for joining us. And all of you other YouTube. Look like we got 9 viewers on YouTube still. If y'all would be so kind as to click on that super chat $sign at the bottom of the chat box list, you can give us a little server fee money and that sort of thing to help keep it free and keep it alive. And we appreciate everybody that came in on YouTube and on video. Y'all were a great group tonight. So y'all all have a good week. Do something fun. And Friday, same bat time, same bat channel. We'll see y'all later. Good night.
Thanks, Rusty.
Yeah, sure thing.
Thanks, Rusty, for hosting this.
Oh yeah, let's see. Fair winds, tight lines. See ya.
See ya.
Good night.
See ya.